So James is probably going to eat this salad. It looks very attractive. See how it's divided and all the things. And it says 16 grams of protein. I wanted to point that out here. Plant protein, 16 grams. Now, they have some work to do on their packaging, because if you look at the ingredients, I mean, you can see there's white stuff there, and I was looking at it going, I wonder if that's feta. You know, like honestly, when I ate this, I couldn't tell. So if it were me making this product, I wouldn't even put the feta in there. I'd swap that out for maybe cauliflower or something like that, crumbled cauliflower, because you can't even taste it. It doesn't taste like feta. And then you could be able to put another little icon on this thing that says vegan if you did that, because I don't think there's anything else in here that's not. So that's what I do. I mean, you could season the cauliflower so it is saltier, whatever. That avocado is not good, eh?
It's not going to squish,
Yeah.
but it tastes great.
I did a bad job. I put them in the fridge, and I didn't check all of them to see if they were all mushy. So there would have been some that were mushy in the bag, and not that one.
It's looking like, or feeling like an India rubber ball.
Now, another thing you may have noticed when you read the front of this is it doesn't say any. It says made in Canada, domestic imported ingredients, keep refrigerated. It doesn't say that the greens have been washed. It, like when you look on the back, it says, you know, the directions are to just eat it.
That's it.
And so one would imagine that the greens have been washed. But you don't want to let your customer imagine that they haven't been washed. So really that should be put on the front.
Probably.
It should be. They always do that for salads. If you look at other products of this type, you will find that they put triple washed or whatever.
1/2
So that's
wash.
a good idea to do that. So
Effort.
now, what I wanted to point out, like there's a lot of great ingredients in here and everything. Some that I guess they're probably not making their own vinaigrette, so I can't really, whatever. But I'm going back to that plant protein 16 grams icon. The nutritional facts for one package on the back, which that's a lot of saturated fat. But anyway, which you could cut down on if you got rid of that feta, which I can't taste in there anyway. So anyway, the package. It says protein 16 grams for this whole package. Well, if there's 16 grams of protein in this whole package, and I know that there's protein in that feta, there's not 16 grams of plant protein in this package. That's obvious. You gotta change the package because you're not telling the truth. And it's not even... Anyway. Another thing about this, wow, the sodium. So much sodium. You could cut back on that too if you didn't have that feta. Get rid of the feta. You can't taste it in there. It's a waste of, like, there's a lot of people maybe, don't want to eat so much fat these days or whatever. They're going to pick a product like a salad because they're trying to avoid the fat that they usually eat in their diet that's not salad. So this has a lot of fat and it has a lot of sodium. That's people who are wanting to eat salads or wanting to eat healthier. So when they see that, they're going to be like, "Ooh, well, maybe I better get this other salad." Because honestly, you can't even taste the feta in there. I don't know if it's just not great feta. Anyway, so that's what I would do. I would change that. I'd swap out that feta. And, James and I were going to talk about what we heard on the radio today. Because it was deeply disturbing. So I guess we better do that. So James is going to eat this product when he feels like it. Right now he's going for the burger, but yeah. So we were listening to the radio, and there was a big here in Alberta. Our health
careless.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Dina Hinshaw, all those.
Our top doctor is keeps styling.
They'll often have these press conferences. And
they should have one a day, and it should be.
They were
far more facts.
James had mentioned the 14-year-old that had died from COVID. Well, now I guess Alberta Healthcare has decided that the 14-year-old didn't die from COVID. COVID was not. They're only reporting people who have died with as COVID deaths if it's a primary or secondary factor in the death. And they don't believe that the 14-year-old, now that they look at it, they don't think that the 14-year-old, that it was a secondary factor in the 14-year-old's death.
Or is that just what they're saying?
Exactly. And so they've changed their decision that the 14-year-old, the 14-year-old didn't die from COVID all of a sudden. And then I don't remember which health person it was. It might have been the other woman. What's her name?
Verna Yu.
It might have been her that was saying this. But anyway, I think it was her. But it could have been one or the other. Anyway.
Yeah. They're both lousy liars.
Yeah. So I think it was her anyway. She was saying that now they're not going to be reporting any COVID deaths when people are under 18, because they're going to be very careful. They're on deciding on whether it was a COVID death or not.
When did they decide to be so careful? Just like when they're reporting things. But when it actually comes to controlling things, they're careless.
Yeah, so they're not going to report it. So then you won't know. If you're a parent and you're sending your kids to school, you won't know if COVID is killing loads of kids under 18. You won't know because they're not going to report it. That's what they just said. And so then later on, somebody called in, or was it somebody who was right there? I think it was a caller. But anyway, it was a media person was asking, I think, this is all going by in real time, and I wasn't writing it down, so I don't know.
Well, you were in the bath, weren't you? Bathtub?
So, yeah, I was too at that point. Anyway, so I definitely wasn't writing it down in there. But anyway.
And the trouble is, it's defeating the purpose. Pauline turned before she went into the bath. She wanted to play some music.
Yeah.
But she knew I'd want to hear this stuff.
Yeah, so I turned it on, and it's on the radio thing. And if it hadn't been on the radio thing and I didn't hear Dina Hinshaw's voice, then I would have been like, I would have just put the music, right?
Yeah.
But
some wonderful music.
So I'm listening to the person who was asking the question, and they said.
I think you can hand that over. Sorry about that.
If you want to try that out, go right ahead. Just try not to show that part too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't want.
There we go.
Even though I said that their product was good, they just need to tweak it a bit. Just tweak it. Tweak the product. Anyway, Annafrid.
Oh, dog's getting that. It's okay, they've gone now.
Yeah, they don't want anything to do with you. Come here.
How do you open this
Boy,
up?
that's... Well, it says on the squeeze. See?
Oh, wow. That's
and then
pretty.
there's...
Well, it's stuff you can mix
see right
around
here? You just open that up on this end. Annafrid will show you, she said.
Oh, I'm sure she would. She'd take her.
You got it now?
Yeah.
So anyway,
well,
the person calls in, and their question is, what do you say to people who I got to get you scissors for that, don't I?
We can save that for something else.
Okay. Yeah.
It's sesame dressing.
Yeah, you don't really
it could
like
go on
dressing
potatoes.
anyway.
I'm not a big fan, but I think I would like the sesame dressing. I'm just going to put this all on and
All right.
mix it around, right?
So the question: what do you say to people that who believe that you're padding the COVID numbers by reporting it as a COVID death when somebody dies from a car accident or something like that?
Car accident, like they would.
And it's
that person died of COVID.
And it's like so
they
I
went
hear
off
that.
the road
I hear that
with a coughing
question,
fit.
and I'm like, oh well. What do I say? I say that they're not padding the numbers. They're doing the exact opposite, obviously.
Yeah.
By taking this 14-year-old and now not reporting any under 18.
Yeah. This was a setup question.
So this was such a setup question. It's like, journalist, are you being paid directly from Alberta Health Services? Or
did
you cash the government check before you asked your question?
Yeah.
Like,
how do you know how you spell corruption? UCP. There you go. That's how you spell corruption.
Like, it was so obvious. It's like, okay, this news conference, they're telling us that they're not going to be reporting under 18 deaths from COVID anymore, and they've decided that the death of somebody from COVID under 14 was not a death from COVID after all. So that was such a setup question. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So what do they do in my case? I got multiple myeloma, which is, according to the stats that I've run across, twice as virulent as the average cancer. There are things that are way worse.
Yeah.
There are things that are way
better.
What are
they
like
going to say? Cancer. Like, if he dies, if he gets COVID, he dies. Are they going to say, oh, well,
he would have died anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't a contributing
forget
factor.
About it.
Had, this and that. He had a stroke last year. So.
Yeah, oh, man. Like, the stroke could have, like if a stroke takes me or something like that. Oh, man. Of course, that stroke could have been caused by COVID.
Yeah.
The symptoms that Pauline and I had were, like I knew nothing about the other form of COVID.
Had one thing,
but we had the same symptom, the same time,
weird symptoms.
And then we started checking it up, and there was the tachycardia version of.
We were looking, worldwide at different symptoms because we sure weren't getting the information from our health advisors.
No.
So we were looking around globally because you pretty much have to now when you see that your own system is corrupt. And
corruptly covering things up.
Yeah, and seems eager to kill off their own Canadian
older
citizens.
people, people who are
and now cover up the deaths of people under 18 because they know that sadly I didn't expect this. I expected people to care right away about their grandparents dying and stuff. But
they're just old. Who cares?
So
clears room for the rest of us.
But obviously, Dina Hinshaw and our other health advisors are a little concerned about how people will react to people under 18 dying from COVID. So I'm trying to control that.
Oh, yeah. So again, keep in mind, how do you spell corruption? UCP. Got that?
Yeah.
So, this is absolutely shameful. My strong suspicion is if I die of COVID, they'll be, forget it. That guy was over 60. He was...
comorbidities.
All these other comorbidities, the COVID was just... But the key thing is, if they're going to do that, what they should do is get have predictions of how long people are going to live with the conditions. Me, hard to say. And then you look at, I've already survived 10 years when they're giving me a year and a half. More than 10 years now. And that was a year and a half on the outside. Not average. Oh, well, maybe year and a half, 10 here, And then look at when they died. And, a year doesn't seem like a lot, but that could be like 1 80th of a person's life expectancy or something like that. It's got to be taken into account. A person has a right in our society, I think, to live as long as they're able, and not have their lives cut short because of the incompetence of their leaders, and frankly, in a democracy, the incompetence of their fellow voters. You idiots that voted for Jason Kenney, you idiots that voted for Justin Trudeau. Not much option there, but Trudeau was better than Harper. Wow. Yeah, but not much option there. But try to find something, get some better, turf the parties, turf the Liberals, turf the NDP, turf the Conservatives. Get better parties out there. The parties basically represent you. So yeah, Dina Hinshaw, you are really smooth. But that's what sleaze is. You're sleazy. You should have retired right at the beginning of this, when you saw what Jason Kenney was going to be doing. Instead, you've turned into the mouthpiece. You're the mouthpiece. You're the mouthpiece of this sleazy slime. You just spread Jason Kenney's slime all over the place. You're sleazy. And unfortunately, I don't know if Verna Yu was appointed by them.
Oh, and
but she comes out pretty sleazy too.
Yeah. So I can see that quinoa clump has not shaken up, and although he didn't do it like the instructions
I
where you
didn't
shake
do
it,
yeah.
but it doesn't shake up. You
I didn't
still
shake it
have
like a
clump.
Polaroid.
No, you did not.
Wow.
But that clump of quinoa remains a clump of quinoa. So I was thinking it's probably not a good ingredient for the salad as it is, but maybe, I don't know if anybody has tried this, but I know that you can puff wheat, you can puff rice, you can puff popcorn. I wonder if you can do that to quinoa.
That might be interesting.
Yeah. So if you could, that'd make a great salad topping, I think.
Yeah, they might be using it in movie theaters too, with what's left of them.
No, but it would work better than a clump of mushy quinoa
in a salad.
That's what I'm thinking. So
I'm having to mix it around.
I'm trying to give you some other ideas. I really like the idea of using the butternut squash because it sort of looks like mango, and that's an ingredient you can get around here. So that's great. That's a really good idea.
Listen to what Pauline says about food. We've got lots of stuff about food, almost as much as CBC has. We don't have as much about alcoholic beverages, and we don't have a microbrewery or anything like that. But you see, the emphasis here is on saving money and saving your life, saving your health, saving your life.
But on this, I'm
Unlike
actually giving some product tips, which, I mean, they should be able to pay for their own.
Research and development.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I know that I did try this. They were selling their greens as like living lettuce before, but it was far too expensive. I was given it free, and I was thankful for it. But I thought, gosh, I would never buy this. Even if I had a lot of money, I wouldn't buy it. But they found a way to use their greens to make a product that I think is fairly saleable. You just got to tweak that a little bit. You got to work on the packaging because you don't have 16 grams of plant protein in there. If your total protein is 16 grams and there's feta in there, you don't have 16 grams of plant protein. Feta is not plant protein.
That is not really fair to the consumer.
No. But anyway, I just, I maybe it's because they're a local company and I I want to see them succeed.
Mm.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Coaldale.
Anyway.
Get to put Coaldale onto the international scene because we aim the whole wide world.
If I still had a popcorn popper, I would try to puff quinoa. See if it would work. I don't know. My guess is it would, though. And
I'm mixing it
my
around
guess is
in
it
there.
would make a good salad topping.
It's the crunchy stuff in there
Yeah.
anyway, isn't it? So. It's a
And
pretty
you
good
might
salad,
want to
I
try
gotta
some
say.
cilantro in there. You know, you could. There's local cilantro growers. You could contact one of those guys. Put some cilantro in there.
Well, you're a local grower, but you mean someone who's more.
Yeah, there are
Got
local cilantro growers around Coaldale.
Yeah, you don't market your stuff.
No,
People don't even
I don't
rip you
grow
off for
enough.
that. Yeah?
You know,
That's
there's
amazing.
one thing though. I today like I was given this by the Salvation Army. I'm very grateful. They've given us a lot of food, and one thing they gave us so much today. I was allowed to take 4 tomatoes, and I did it again, James. I took 4 tomatoes. I was allowed to take them, and while I'm there, I guess I'm tired. Well, here, look at how many steps I did today.
That'd be about 8 miles, let's say.
Can you see that? Lots. So that's
What were we saying, 22,000?
22,000 some.
I'm figuring it's 8 miles. Can you convert?
So,
Oh.
yeah, I can convert it great. So, I go there and I'm tired after I walk about 17,000 while I'm there waiting because some people show up early, and I figure, well, if I want to get there in line and not be like 20th or something, I may as well get there early. So this is 9 miles I've walked today. 9.
See, I always try to get accurately, but I always try to get just at least a little bit under, because I don't like I don't like being the people who always overestimating stuff.
So by the time I'm picking stuff, I guess I'm tired from walking, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, we eat a lot of tomatoes, and I don't think, wait, we have a lot of tomatoes to eat. We don't need this. So now I'm gonna have to make tomato soup or something because we have a lot of tomatoes to eat.
Mm-hmm. What were we figuring, about 100 pounds? So
we have more than 100 pounds.
That's right, because there was stuff
we still had stuff that we hadn't eaten. So, but not all of it's ripe right now. Thank goodness. Some of it's green. A lot of it's green.
A lot of it's green.
But I have to go through the boxes.
Every day, right?
Yeah, I should have went through it today because I noticed they were red, some of them. But I guess I just ran out of steam.
It was a busy day.
Yeah. So I'll do it tomorrow.
Not many people would walk 9 miles a day.
No, but like this is my big day of the week that I do while waiting for the Salvation Army to open. But everybody should do 10,000 steps a day. So about half that amount in miles that I got. So about 4 or whatever. 4 miles.
4 miles, about an hour's worth of activity.
Yeah.
I used to do that every day, and then I was on my feet doing janitorial.
Yeah.
It was almost impossible for me to put on pounds.
Oh, I know. When I was working, doing gardening stuff, and well, then I was gardening in my spare time and hiking in my spare time too. I mean, I could eat anything. I was not going to put on weight.
So I put on weight when I started eating 2 restaurant meals a day. And not that I put on a lot, but had a partial sit-down job. What was that? I was driving truck along with landscaping. Landscaping was pretty energy expending. you're advised against restaurant meat. It's not good for the budget, and it's not good for the waistline. And actually, what is underneath the waistline? It's much worse for what's going
It's
on
actually
inside.
a warm
of course.
coat. It's not real fur. It's just fun fur. And this isn't leather. It's, I don't know,
It's
some
fun
kind
leather.
of plastic.
There we go. But even
But
if
it's
Pauline,
pretty warm.
if you ever see Pauline wearing fur and leather, it's she'd never buy it, ever buy it new. It's already been killed
Well,
and used for someone else.
Moccasins that I'm wearing are probably actual suede.
Huh?
I don't know if they're actual fur. Looking at
Mhm.
it, doesn't look very fur-like.
No.
But I have had some wonderful. I had a pair of mucklucks that were. I think they were rabbit. They were so soft.
Mhm.
But I mean, all of my clothing is secondhand, so I don't feel too badly about it when I get things that are fur or leather, because I wasn't the one that it was killed for. Somebody else bought it new, not me.
And
It's
if
already
something was
around.
killed, it might as well get used.
Yeah,
is the way
exactly,
I look
because
at it.
it's not going to come back to life. So anyway, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't encourage people to kill animals.
No. So it's not an advertisement for
No.
the fur industry, if you ever.
No, I'm not saying,
leather industry.
please go and buy that stuff new so that you can donate it to the thrift store so I can buy it. No. But I'm going to buy it if it's there, because I know it will last a long time. If I get leather, it lasts.
In different times, people had to do that. Living here on the prairies, people had to kill animals.
Yeah.
They had to have stuff for hides for their tents,
Yeah.
teepees, whatever you want to call them.
Well, you got to find somewhere
They had
to
to have
survive
something
in
for their
this climate.
clothing,
I mean,
something.
it
In
gets
the wintertime,
cold
it's
in
brutal.
the winter.
Mhm.
I saw a couple that they were packing all of their belongings. So, like, I thought maybe you've had a nice summer living out together, but it's going to get really cold really fast. I really felt for them. I hope they'll be okay. I worry about people. But I'd noticed the Environment Canada weather for Waterton a while back, and although it's extremely windy, that wind is warm, and usually Waterton, it's amazing if you look at the historical data for Waterton. Like, this is what I looked at years ago, so it's probably still up there. I don't know why they'd take it down. But it actually stays pretty warm in Waterton.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's just really windy.
Or as it should be called, Inside Lake in Blackfoot.
Yeah.
Blackfoot Territory, and that's the original name. Can't remember the.
Because I guess probably because the lakes are so deep, it'd take a lot to freeze them up.
The lakes would offer. They're so big and deep, as you
Yeah.
said. There's so much water in there. The water acts as I presume,